Bingo Blitz rules.
If your bingo has ads in it,
That's not a bingo.
if it doesn't have the coolest tournaments, mini games, and the most breathtaking design,
Nope, not a bingo.
if your bingo moment makes you feel so excited that you just want to burst in joy and scream out loud, bingo! Sorry, so you're playing...
Bingo Blitz? Now that's a bingo. Discover a world of excitement with Bingo Blitz, the #1 free bingo game. Download Bingo Blitz and play for free.
Now that's a bingo.
What's up, everyone? It's Noah Daniels.
Hey y'all, I'm JJ.
Hey guys, it's Kat.
And we're your hosts of the Real Hauntings podcast, where we bring on guests to share their first-hand encounter ghost stories and supernatural experiences. Now on to the trailer.
I've been warned to not tell this story, but I think because of the way it ends, it's okay to tell this story, because some people say that with certain entities, to like speak of them or talk about them or in any way like portray them as powerful will attract them to other people. The creepiest thing about it to me is a lot of times it would wait for me to notice it. Like it would just lay its arm out like this, and then I'd be like, where is it? Where is it? And then I'd see it, and then it would just slither back.
For more information on the Real Hauntings, Real Ghost Stories podcast, make sure you check out real.fm to learn more about our podcast and many other amazing podcasts.
With something like 5 million podcasts, finding a really good one can take a ton of time. So let me recommend one. It's called Something You Should Know. I'm the host, Mike Carruthers, and in each episode, we discuss topics that can be really helpful, like how to read people better, the psychology of crowds, or fun things like the story of Legos, or why you probably wouldn't be here if it weren't for horses. Something You Should Know is the name of it, wherever you get your podcasts.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to a brand spanking new episode of Don't Blame Me, where we, two wonderful, gorgeous, amazing human beings who have really great diction and enunciation, we give you wonderful, life-changing advice that changes your life. And you might be asking, I see that you're gorgeous because I'm on your Patreon and I love supporting women. First of all, thank you. And how could two people who are so stunning, so funny, also be qualified? And to that I say, you said it yourself.
Don't ask questions. The questions answer themselves.
We have our own don't ask, don't tell policy. And that is, don't ask us what our qualifications are. And we won't tell you
a lie.
Unless we do.
Yeah.
And in which case, it's a fun one. So, we're Meghan and Melisa, also known as the M&M Universe if you're brand new here.
Also known as Sister Sign.
Exactly. Big things are happening.
Right. I don't think we've officially said it, but
yeah, we started a company.
I had you change it on that post you made.
Yes. So if you guys picked up on that, doesn't it sound great? You know? The way that it came to me so easy.
As we were sitting there pondering, and then you're like, ooh.
Well, we had been talking about it, and we had both been thinking for years at this point. And then I was like, what if we just did this? And it was the first time we started thinking about it in that moment, in the moment there. We weren't in a long brainstorming session. I was like, oh yeah, how about this? Whoa.
Perfect.
Don't push it, everyone. Don't, just let it come to you. So we're going to give you some advice. And on this podcast, we answer your advice via email as well as your voicemails. So if you want to leave us a voicemail, that's 310-694-0976. International listeners, you can also record a voice memo. We'll play it just like a voicemail. And you can email that to meganpodcast@gmail.com. And then we also accept written submissions. So you could write into our Instagram account, or you can write into that same email address, meganpodcast@gmail.com. And for all of the things, to be 18 or over or have your parents' permission, and every single version of your submission will always be anonymous. But we do ask that you include your age, and if anyone else is involved in this, what their age is as well, and all of the relevant details. So for the voice memo and a voicemail, it has to be under 3 minutes. And for the written version, it has to be under 300 words. And the best way to do it is to write everything down, practice it a few times, or just read it over. Make sure you're under the word count or the timing count of it. And you include all of the relevant details because we can only give you advice on the information that you give us. We have to fill in the holes otherwise. But, we always say, like, give us your thesis, your 3 examples, and the rest of like what you're asking for advice on. And let us know if you're sensitive because we do keep that in mind.
Good job, Megan.
Thank you.
Anyways, should we get into the update?
Ooh, an update. Yeah.
Hello, Melissa and Megan. I am calling with an update. I was calling about taking care of your partner's pet in the Don't Blame Me episode with Logan Yuri, December 18th, 2023. I'm reading it right now. Anyway, so that crazy dog that we have in our 1-bedroom is here no more. Long story. It was crazy. I would love to get into it with you guys. One of the worst experiences of my life happened when she bit another dog. I was there. It was horrible. I was like, final straw, I'm leaving, and I can't stay at home until this dog's gone. So my partner it's been a few weeks, but they're trying to rehome her. But she's been gone for a few weeks. She's living with my partner's parents, and my partner is living there, like an hour and a half away, until they rehome this dog. It's surprisingly hard. Shelters in their city are full, and you can't take, in the state they're in, can't take out-of-state dogs. But you guys don't really need the details. I'm doing so much better. It's just me and my cat, and I miss my partner a lot. But, I'm so happy that I don't have to live with this dog. Like, I feel like I'm thriving. So very excited about that. Really wanted to let you guys know. Also, I recently joined the Patreon and have only been to one of the Zoom meetup things. And it was great, but I keep forgetting to come back. So
Come back.
I need to figure out what day that's on. Friday.
Usually. Yeah.
But, okay. Thank you so much. Yeah, that's all I got. Bye-bye.
I love to hear people thriving.
I can hear it in your voice, how elated and relaxed and excited that you are, that you have your space back.
And you know what I think about? I think if you, which I hope you do, listen to our other podcasts, but am I wrong? I have so much confidence that you voted not in favor of valuing dogs' lives over human lives.
Yeah.
Because you're like, no, I have to value my own mental health over this. And I love hearing the joy in updates when like people are like in a circumstance or situation that is like ones that like we think about after the call has ended, and knowing that like that is the past and you don't have to deal with that anymore. I'm so happy for you.
Me too.
And join, and come to the live streams. They're very fun.
They're on Fridays 99.9% of the time. But what Friday it is, it's anyone's guess.
Keep being curious. Keep asking questions.
Next Friday?
Sure.
Okay. So y'all heard it here first. It'll be tomorrow. I've probably already posted about it. Try to be better.
We're all trying to be better. And you know what? It's okay.
All right. So we're going to take a break, and when we get back, we'll get into the first write-in.
Woo!
As a podcast network, our first priority has always been audio and the stories we're able to share with you. But at Realm, we also sell some pretty cool merch, and organizing that was made both possible and easy with Shopify. When you think about successful businesses like Aloe or Allbirds or Skims, an often overlooked secret is the business behind the business that makes selling and, for shoppers, buying simple. For millions of businesses, that business is Shopify. That's because nobody does selling better than Shopify. It's the home of the #1 checkout on the planet. And the not-so-secret secret that's definitely worth talking about is that Shop Pay boosts conversions up to 50%. That's more happy customers and way more sales going. If you're hoping to grow your business, your commerce platform better be ready to sell wherever your customers are scrolling or strolling, on the web, in your store, in their feed, and everywhere in between. Businesses that sell more, sell on Shopify. Upgrade your business and get the same checkout we use with Shopify. Sign up for your $1 per month trial period at shopify.com/realm, all lowercase. Go to shopify.com/realm to upgrade your selling today. Shopify.com/realm.
Hi, this is Rob Benedict.
And I am Richard Spate. We were both on a little show you might know called Supernatural.
It had a pretty good run, 15 seasons, 327 episodes.
And though we have seen, of course, every episode many times, we figured, hey, now that we're wrapped, let's watch it all again.
And we can't do that alone, so we're inviting the cast and crew that made the show along for the ride. We've got writers, producers, composers, directors, and we'll of course have some actors on as well, including some certain guys that played some certain pretty iconic brothers.
It was kind of a little bit of a left field choice in the best way possible.
The note from Kripke was, he's great, we love him, but we're looking for like a really intelligent Duchovny type.
With 15 seasons to explore, it's going to be the road trip of several lifetimes. So please join us and subscribe to Supernatural then and now.
Merry Christmas, everybody! My name is Eric Peterson. I'm here with my good buddy,
Danny Jordan.
And we are the hosts of Christmas Countdown Show.
We're so thrilled to be bringing the merriment to you all this holiday season. On Christmas Countdown, we love to count down our top 10 favorite things related to the holiday season. That could be food, movies, music, everything that we all love about this massively merry good time. So wherever you get your podcasts, make sure you click that subscribe button. Eric, are you ready?
I am ready, and we hope that you are too. Merry Christmas, everybody! Let's go!
Then we're back.
First up, hi, Eminem. I'm wondering what advice you have for quote unquote slumps in relationships. I've been with my boyfriend for 3 years. We met when he was a senior in college and I was a junior. I'm 22 now and he is 24. After my graduation, we moved in together. He's extremely kind, caring, thoughtful, and funny. I struggle with feeling like we are spending intentional time together. Upon moving in, I felt like we were becoming roommates. Our quote unquote quality time was limited to going to the gym together, separate workouts, and watching shows. This feeling led to multiple disagreements as my boyfriend felt my frustrations were, quote unquote, in my head. Monday through Friday, we are both busy with work and gym. Then my boyfriend and his friends want to hang out all Saturday and Sunday. Post-grad, many of his friends have stayed locally, whereas most of my friends are now relocated. When we are all out in one group, he has said numerous times that he is least concerned with what I want because I'm the closest person to him, so he focuses on ensuring that everyone else is happy. This causes a lot of tension, specifically at night, like 2 a.m., when I want us to go home to bed after an entire day with his friends, while he wants to stay out all night till like 4 a.m. I love him so much, but I feel drained and alone. This has led to a relationship slump. I feel like I've become more sensitive to minuscule things in our typical routine. For example, when he scrolls reels while I'm talking or he forgoes flowers for anniversary. I was pretty upset and overreacted. I hope you have some advice on how to move forward. Please be tough if necessary. Oh my God, literally move the fuck out. You're not overreacting for any of those things. This man is giving you breadcrumbs and expecting you to kiss the fucking ground he walks on, to the point where now you're thinking that you are overreacting when he ignores you when you're speaking and forgets your fucking anniversary.
Yeah, I don't understand why he feels like he needs to neglect you when you aren't ever spending any quality time together. Who needs to be with their friends all day on Saturday and Sunday every week?
24 years old? Why do you live with your girlfriend then?
Yes, like you just want a roommate.
Yeah, you are a roommate.
And so, if y'all should be having intentional dates. It doesn't have to mean that you're like necessarily going out, but like you can go out, you can stay in, but you should have, I think, once a week, especially at this point, since you're in a quote unquote slump, then you should be having dates that aren't just y'all watching TV and going to the gym. This feels very lazy on his part.
Yeah, I have the opposite. I think you need to break up. Like, to me, this is not a normal slump, because like, when I started reading this, I was like, oh, totally understand. Have great advice for this, because it is inevitable that when you move in with your partner, and I will also say it's even when you move in with your like best friend, like it does take your relationship differently, and like you become roommates. And so you have to make a conscious effort to spend quality time together. And for a lot of instances, one person views just hanging out at home as quality time, and like sharing space is quality time and the other person doesn't. But then when you actually do the intentional quality time, going out on a date, or even like planning a night in and watching a movie and like getting takeout and like being present with each other, then very quickly the other person is like, oh yeah, there is a huge difference between this like level of quality time. But it's not that it's he's told you that he does not prioritize you. And like your feelings are not the most important to him. And I think you need to listen to that. Cause like that's not just like, oh, everyone thinks it, but he's saying it. Like that's not true at all. This to me is someone who, with love, he moved in, he was not ready to move in with a partner at all. And so he's viewing it like you are roommates because you are. And your sensitivity to quote unquote minuscule things is not that. And to me, this just is like abundantly clear that he's acting like nothing he does can ever make you happy. When in reality, he's actively doing things to make you unhappy. It's not that you aren't being grateful for the things he does or like he has to go above and beyond. It's like, no, he can't even do the basics at all. And then is making it seem like it's an expectation issue with you. So to me, 3 years in, I would be out also because, I mean, I don't know where you're from or where you live, but I don't know many men at all who lived with a significant other at 24. So I just think if he's the only one who does, like he wants the bro life still. And like, that's fine, but he can be single then. I just think like we have to listen when people say things and not try and like sanitize them into ways that like makes it sound better. But if any of my friends said this to me, I'd be like, snap out of it. Like, this is clearly a him problem. And he doesn't want to improve on this because he doesn't think there's an issue. And it's giving that same guy who tells you like, oh, you know, like I'm not like really a good relationship guy, but then gets you in a relationship, asks you to be exclusive, then cheats on you and then goes, but I told you I wasn't a relationship guy. It's like he's telling you how he's valuing you and how he's going to treat you. And he's following through on that. Just because there's the title of boyfriend and just because you live together doesn't change the fact that like he's being very transparent about like where you fall on his like level of importance. And that's not a universal thing in relationships. And like, I think because you're young, he's trying to make it seem like that's just how it goes. And it's not. It doesn't have to be this way whatsoever.
I agree, but it's just like because they are young that it may not be something that he realizes. And if you point it out and then he doesn't make any changes, then that's when to leave.
Maybe he says her frustrations are just in her head.
I don't like that.
Yeah. Like to me, this just doesn't like, I think like, if this happened 3 years from now, he's a little bit older. He has friends who are in serious, all of that stuff. Like he might be more susceptible to this, but like, how long do you want to stick it out? Like I always tell people, like
when I say like you have the conversation with him, I mean like if it's not
have your
fixed
final
in like
one to decide
2 weeks, yeah, like then you're out, then be done.
Yeah, sometimes it's good for your own sanity to feel like you gave it your best effort, even though you already have. Sometimes like kind of like a last Hail Mary or whatever in hopes of that is a good kind of thing. But yeah, like I don't know. I think that there are two different kinds of relationships you can get into. You can get into a relationship into your 30s or later, and it's two people who have probably already gone to therapy, who've like been through some shit. They like, I talk about this all the time. I have a friend who she was in her 30s when she met her husband, and like the first night she was like, I'm going to marry that man. And he said the same thing, and they were married within like 6 months, and they had a baby about a year later. Like she just knew. And that's when you get people who have already been through some shit and through some life, and you can kind of skip those steps. If you are in a relationship from the time that you're young, all of the growing and all of those things you're doing with another person, and like there's a lot that goes through that. There's a lot of like, you know, there's a lot of work that's put into those people, and it's not going to be as easy or as mature. And that's something that like you have to decide if you want. Like, do you want to teach him how to treat a partner. And that's allowed. Like, you're allowed to want to like make it work with him. But like Melissa said, like, you have to give him one last effort, and you can't want to make it work enough for the both of you. Like, he actually has to do the work. And if he doesn't, and he tells you it's all in your head, then you have to know that he's never going to do the work. And then, are you cool with your life like this? Because it's not going to change. But I really hate him.
Yeah. All right, next one. Good day, Melissa and Megan. I hope your week has been everything and more. So I'm writing today for advice on leaving a friend group. I'm 26 and use she, her pronouns. For some background information, I'm from a small town where everyone knows everyone. Oftentimes, families go back generations because people don't leave. Most people own their own businesses that keep the town going, so most of the kids do not go to college. I was not one of those kids. I got a full ride scholarship and went to school cross country. While being gone for 4 years, I learned a lot. It was like being exposed to a new world. A lot in my life changed. My beliefs, my political views, etc. So I came back home last year. By home, I mean the next town over that is relatively a big city. There is a university there I teach at. So it is close enough to home where I can visit on the weekends, but not too close. All my friends took the traditional route and stayed in our small town. I've literally known them ever since diapers, so I feel bad that I want to leave. The thing is, I changed and they haven't. Things I used to find fun no longer are. Things that I thought were politically correct were 100% not. And I had to get out of there to see it. I don't fault them for anything at all. And I don't want to seem like I am better than anyone. We just simply have grown apart. I don't have much to add to the conversation, both in our group chat and in person. I feel like it's time to call it quits, but I don't know if that's the right idea or how to go about it. Any help would be great. I mean, what are you
I'm
doing?
being a ghost.
Please tune into the Patreon so you can see that ridiculousness.
I am available for hire. Cast me.
I mean, I went through something similar, but the difference was most of the people, since I live in a college area, most of the people there went to college, that I went to high school, went to college, but I do not align with a lot of them politically. I never did, but things got quite different in the last few years. But yeah, like I literally don't talk to anybody I went to high school with. There's a few that we follow each other. There's a few that follow me on social media. I definitely don't follow them, but there's a few that we follow each other. But those are like people that were already liberal, but I still don't talk to them. I was literally like, this is a year for my reunion. I'm supposed to be on the planning committee. They don't know how to get in contact with me because I was in class council.
That's how you meant it to be. She goes, and I don't want them to contact
I don't
me.
have Facebook. Like, they don't know. And I was like, it's not like I would go to anything, but it dawned on me literally this week. Oh, there's probably a reunion happening sometime soon.
That's funny.
But shit happens. Make friends with the people in your new town. It's a university city, so there's probably people that fall in line with you there. Just let it fall apart. You have nothing to say. Just don't say anything back.
Yeah.
Just let things naturally happen, and they'll happen, and you make new friends in the area that you're in.
Yeah, I think that's the way to go. We're big proponents of ghosting on this podcast because I think ghosting can do many things. You can do like that, where it's like you just kind of pull back, or, you know, you don't say something you might not mean or whatever. Like, I think it doesn't have to be a big declaration because your feelings don't sound like a big declaration. So I think, like, to be frank and to be honest, like Melissa said, you don't have much to say, so don't say anything back. Like, you don't have to kind of force it. And I wouldn't like feel guilty. And I think it's like a totally fine thing. Shit happens. Like, you can be friends with people for a very long time and be aligned on like so many things. And then something can happen and the friendship can dissolve that you don't even want it to, you know? So like, there's so many things that are totally out of your control with this, with friendships. So I think like to not assign any sort of like blame to it or thinking that like, oh, this is a bad thing, because I think if you stick it out in a friendship that doesn't feel authentic anymore, it will inevitably end, but it'll probably end worse. Like it'll probably it builds up and resentment kind of builds up. And you said that a lot of the jokes and stuff that you thought were PC really weren't. And, you say you don't fault any of these people for this or whatever, but, I think you really are a reflection of the people who you surround yourself with. And I've taken breaks from friendships from people who grew up more conservative than I did. And I would be like, whoa, I don't really know what that means, but I don't think that's something that you should say or whatever. And then you can take breaks from friendships and be like, I don't feel like we're on the same vibe anymore. And people grow and people change. And those people might have similar experiences that you did. Maybe obviously not through the college aspect of it, but they might grow and they might change there. So I think pulling back naturally, I think it's also not necessarily a death sentence to your friendship as for the future of it. Because those people also might grow and change like you. But I do think if you go, hey, everybody, I'm done being friends, that's not a good look. So even if they do change, and it sounds like you really changed for the better in terms of social awareness and world awareness, you don't ever really want to villainize, make it so the college educated, worldly is a negative. So I think to kind of back away from it with as much subtlety and ease as possible also leaves the opportunity for them to have that growth and then not resent this thing, which is life experience and education. So yeah, I think it's the right idea. I always think if you think you need to break up with someone or you think you need to end a friendship or take a step back from a friendship, you have to do it. And then you eventually just get to the point where you don't have any other options of other things to do. And it doesn't always have to be a bad thing. But congratulations on a university job.
Yeah, that's really fun.
I always think that's that's a job. I love jobs that people have in movies or TV shows. And that's a job you'd give, I don't know, a young go-getter. And I'm like, ooh, look at you. You're a young go-getter. Small town to the big city. Small town to the, mid-sized city is kind of what it sounds like.
Yeah.
Okay. We're going to take a quick break and we will be back with the rest of the episode.
Do you love Disney? Then you are going to love our hit podcast, Disney Countdown. I'm Megan, the Magical Millennial.
And I'm the Dapper Danielle.
On every episode of our fun and family-friendly show, we count down our top 10 lists of all things Disney. There is nothing we don't cover.
We are famous for rabbit holes, Disney-themed games, and fun facts you didn't know you needed, but you definitely need in your life. So if you're looking for a healthy dose of Disney magic, check out Disney Countdown wherever you get your podcasts.
Hey everyone, join me, Megan Rinks.
And me, Melissa DeMonts, for Don't Blame Me, But Am I Wrong?
Each week, we deliver 4 fun-filled shows.
In Don't Blame Me, we tackle our listeners' dilemmas with hilariously honest advice.
Then we have But Am I Wrong, which is for the listeners that didn't take our advice. Plus, we share our hot takes on current events.
Then tune in to See You Next Tuesday for our listener poll results from But Am I Wrong?
And finally, wrap up your week with Fisting Friday, where we catch up and talk all things pop culture.
Listen to Don't Blame Me, But Am I Wrong on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. New episodes every Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday.
Bitches on Comics is a bi-monthly interview podcast where we talk to the coolest LGBTQ plus folks and women in comics and pop culture.
Our unique perspectives and welcoming nature have earned us the honor of being named a best comic book podcast by Book Riot, Screen Rant, The Mary Sue, Comic Book Herald, and Comic Book Couples Counseling.
Bitches on Comics is hosted by moi, Monica Estrella Negra, filmmaker, writer, and co-founder of Audrey's Revenge Film.
And me, Essie Fleenor, comic and pop culture nerd and culture critic with writing in The Independent, Vice, Electric Literature, Star Trek, and so much more.
We're also both voting members of Gallica, the Society of LGBTQ plus entertainment critics.
Join Bitches on Comics for in-depth, hilarious, and heartfelt conversations with the likes of Stephanie Williams, Leah Anderson, and the late, great Rachel Pollack.
Listen to Bitches on Comics on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. Or tune in at bitchesoncomics.com. New episodes every other Wednesday.
We are back. I am chomping at the bit to read this one. I just read the one sentence summary.
The summary.
Woo. Hey, Eminem. I am in need of help in a big way. Capital B-I-G. So I'm 28, she, her. Next month, I get married to my fiance, and I am so excited. Aside from one thing, my period is due the day before my wedding. I planned everything to the fucking T, and now my period is tracking a week early because August is a 5-week month. So I guess I need all the tips and tricks on period sex. We've both always found that gross and never explored, even though we've been together for 6 years. All my friends are like-minded and also don't have period sex, so I knew y'all'd be my go-to and the whole DBM family. Please give me your best advice. How am I supposed to be sexy when my tits hurt and I'm bloated? Is there even foreplay involved for me, or is it too messy? Some don't blame them would be greatly appreciated. Thanks so much for your help.
Well, do you want to speak on it first?
You can speak on this first. I feel so bad for you first and foremost.
I feel bad for you.
It doesn't sound like you have horrible periods, though.
No, well, she said her tits hurt.
Yeah, but you didn't say that you're like
I don't want to be
doubled
touched.
over in pain and you won't be able to like do the wedding. You're thinking about the sex part, not like the surviving day.
Yeah, I just want to put out there, people, July and August mess with your period, so just keep that in mind.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, remember how when I went to
I thought it was getting on the planes.
I thought it was getting on the planes too. Everything's thrown off because of the length of the months. It's the
That's
months.
what was our problem, because Melissa and I have been attributing.
Yes.
We would go, oh, the
I know.
planes.
It was traveling. Nope.
Oh, damn.
I figured it out. It's the traveling. I mean, not the traveling. It's because they're 2 months back to back that have 31 days. And so your periods get off during that time. Mine finally got caught back up. I'm back to where I was.
He's back, baby.
So if you're planning anything around these times, just keep in mind that the days get weird right now. So I would say, I'm guessing that this isn't the first time that you're having sex. And so will you feel in the mood to even have sex? First of all, it's a long ass day. If you're doing like the full wedding shebang, it's going to be a long day. You're on your period. You might be tired. You might be cranky. Your tits are going to be sore. Like, will you even feel like having sex? And I would fill it out. If you don't feel like having sex, don't have sex that day. Do it when you're more relaxed. You can enjoy it. The reason why people like say that the wedding day, like you go have like your sex, because people were waiting. No, women were waiting before that were betrothed. This was a way to consummate the marriage and like say, basically, now you're his.
Mm-hmm.
That doesn't have the same sentiments these days. I know some people that don't have sex on their wedding day just because it's a long ass day. The day before, you have the rehearsal the day before. It's tiring. Like, you just might not be in the mood. If you like to have period sex, Flex, one of the companies, if blood is not something you want to physically see, Flex makes these discs that go inside of you that you can put up there, and it holds the blood back, but still allows the penis to go inside. So, or whatever objects, body parts that you like inside of you, you can get that, and then there's no mess. Or you can just put a towel down. If you're at a hotel, maybe don't do that.
Yeah.
If you are, maybe bring some plastic bags to put down and a towel from home, because
you don't have
there are white towels there.
Yeah, no.
You don't want to have the white towels there. Bring things that make it so you're not making a mess in the hotel room.
You can have you can get a waterproof mattress cover. You can put it on top. Like, if you're at a hotel, you can put that on top of the sheet. You don't have to like take the top sheets off, or the like fitted sheet off. You can just do that and then have dark towels, and don't have sex with the lights fully off. Like, you need to know, or be close enough to a light that you can turn on afterwards and you're not like getting blood everywhere. But my joke advice was, do you like anal? Like, but that's not for me. Let alone is that not for me when I'm on my fucking period and it feels like there's a lightning rod in both my crotch and my asshole. I'm kind of like of the mindset that like, I think this, if you haven't even thought about your period, I think that like Melissa said, you've already implied you've had sex before. I don't know that like getting your period on your wedding would be the worst thing ever. Because I know I would think about that. That'd be the first thing I would think about. So for me, I would wonder, are you going on a honeymoon right after? Because that would definitely suck without a doubt. But I think that you would be surprised how few couples actually have sex on their wedding night who are not Mormon.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if it's not in a religious setting and you have not had sex before and the wedding ends at like 5:30. Like, most of the people I know who I've been to their weddings, they did not have sex.
They're tired.
They're so tired and they're like,
we're partying.
A lot of people are
long.
really fucking drunk and like, it's not sexy. So my thing is like, if you're in the mindset of like, oh, we're going to have sex on our wedding night, but like we've already had sex before, I don't think that post-wedding night sex is sexy in general because people are fucking exhausted. So, I think like opting to do it because you're both like really in the mood and you're super horny, like go for it. I would have a very honest conversation with your soon-to-be husband about it first, because that, as somebody who like was not into period sex at all and did not, just don't fucking touch me with a 10-foot pole. Also, I was in so much fucking pain. When I got on birth control that I was taking consistently to eventually, and now thankfully it does, eliminate my ovulating so I don't get cysts anymore and to stop my period fully, there was a 7-month period where I was bleeding every single day. And it was like, we had to have a serious conversation about being like, okay, well, we're not going to like just not have sex. And like, I had to be like, here's the thing. I need you to be you need to be so gung ho, because the way that we've been socialized to view periods as something gross and disgusting. If I even catch a glimpse of like a yuck face on you, like I'll lose it. And like that. And he was like, no, I'm fine. Like, I'm totally good. Like, this is something that you were not interested in because of, how much pain you were in, but like from a ick factor wise or whatever. So but at the same time, I told him and I was like, if this grosses you out, that's fine. That's so okay. I will not be mad at you, but you have to tell me now. I can't be naked, vulnerable, hormonal, and emotional, and then read into your feelings as you being grossed out or icked out. And so it was like, okay, so what happens if like, you pull out and like you see a lot of blood? How are you going to feel? What are you going to do? And so going through all of that and like making the sex unsexy there to make sure that it will be enjoyable for both of you, because I promise you, if he has a reaction or something that is unprecedented from you in like a negative side, you will be like, why did we have sex tonight? Like, it will ruin the whole fucking mood. And like, getting blood somewhere and going, oh, oops. But like literally we got to the point where moms would be like, oh, not a lot of blood, or like a lot of blood this time. And it was not a big deal. But I think that you really need to make sure that you're both on the same page with it, because there's a way larger emotional aspect and shame aspect, which there shouldn't be, but there will be attached to that to you, where you're both allowed to be kind of icked out at the idea of it, but for different reasons. Like, I think like that's something that you're allowed to work through the ick because it is your body. He needs to have worked through whatever feelings he has about it that have like held him off on wanting to do that before you are doing it, because that will absolutely ruin your experience. I've had friends who've done that and like it's ends in tears. Like, it's just, it makes you feel really, really, really bad about your body doing a very natural thing. But yeah, lay down. If you're at a hotel, I hope it's on someone else's card, because you're gonna have to
the incidentals.
Yeah, you're gonna have to try. Like, it's not gonna be a guarantee. So you needs to be.
I think the flex discs.
You need that regardless.
The
I
flex
think
discs. Disc. I'm keep saying disc.
It's a hard word. The SC combo together always trips me up. I think you need to do that first off. I would still also
practice with them before.
That's what I was gonna say. I would practice before. I'm sure they have stuff online. You want to make sure you're not using a kind of like lubrication insert, because usually when you have your period, it's natural lubrication to insert. Mm-hmm. I'm sure they have tutorials on how to do it to prepare before your period if you want to do it, but make sure you're using what they say to use, because some things can break down certain kinds of silicone or whatever. Do that. Bring specifically a fitted waterproof, and you could also do an allergy protection one. Like, that's very common. Same, anything that wicks things to go over and then dark towels and like clear the bed off for that. There you go. You could also try having sex in the shower if you've got a shower chair. Don't have sex in a hot tub. Don't have sex in a pool. You could have sex in the bathtub, I guess, but that sounds so painful and like angular.
Unless there's water there.
Yeah, but it needs to be the right amount of water.
I know. It's got a surfboard.
Yeah.
Surfboard.
Yeah.
It just needs to go like cover, depending on what position. If he's sitting down, then like it just needs to cover his waist and that's it.
Yeah. But you don't want to be.
But then the water is going to be bloody.
Yeah.
So that's another thing to think about.
You know, I think, and then like go straight into the shower or like clean up and then go straight into shower. Bring extra laundry bags for that stuff. And if you're not at a hotel, spray it down with blood stain stuff like immediately after, or soak it or whatever, and then toss it in. Don't toss it in hot, but like, do the laundry as you would with anything else. But I also wouldn't put that much pressure on you because, wearing a new form of like period protection on your wedding day might add a lot of anxiety to you. And like there is user error and all of that stuff. So I think just overly communicate and then also know that like you can also pretend you had sex on your wedding night. You don't actually have to. That's what I'm saying. Like you probably think everyone, like it's not as big of a thing as it seems.
Yeah. And like what day of your period are you going to be on? Because like if it's like the first couple of days for me, I'm like, don't fucking touch me.
It's the second day of her period. That's the worst day for me.
And then for me, like 4th, 5th day, horny as hell.
Exactly. That's the only time. But I'm like, day 2, God, no. So I don't know. I would focus more on like enjoying your wedding with having your period, like making sure you have like Advil or whatever things you need. And then the sex as like a secondary thing. Because again, if you're going on a honeymoon, that's usually when people are having a lot of sex. And like the wedding night sex, like Melissa said, it's to consummate the marriage. But then also the social aspect of it that's kind of gone away from that has been people depicted in movies and TV leaving for their honeymoon that night. And so then you go on this whole extravagant thing. So, sometimes Amplo happens. Uninvited wedding guest.
Welcome.
But for other brides, if you're on birth control, you can talk to your gynecologist about like timing when you want to get your period. No, I know. But for other brides thinking if this is like, oh shit, you can do that to time ahead of it. Someone asked one of the girls on Love Island, like, what do girls do at their periods? And she's like, they don't get them. They just took extra birth control. And they're like, what? I was like, yeah, severely inconvenient to have your period in Fiji in a villa where there is 2 bathrooms and like 20 people. So love birth control, but good luck. And in the least graphic way possible, let us know how it goes. And I don't say that because I'm like, the body is whatever, but like, A, that's your privacy. And B, I do have some period trauma.
And she also asked like other people to write in too.
Yeah.
For Don't Blame Me specifically. So she wants to have a dialogue here.
Let's have a conversation about bloody sex.
All right, next one. Meghan and Melisa. There's an exclamation mark. I have a bit of an embarrassing question. I am wondering, how do I go about telling a guy I'm hooking up with I have real feelings for him? We started out as casual fuck buddies about a year ago. Over that time, we've become like best friends. We hang out outside of the bedroom and have even developed mutual friends. So now I've realized I'm basically falling in love with him and I have no clue how to act, what to even say or even do. I feel like I have to tell him, but I'm afraid he won't reciprocate and it will mess up our whole dynamic. Please tell me what to do. I've been going over this in my head for about a month. Oh, I'm 24, she, her.
I would read this fanfic so fucking fast. I would green like
This is
this
the first
movie.
time we've had this question either.
No, it happens. It's low-key kind of inevitable on one side or the other.
Mm-hmm. What was the one that we had? Not that it wasn't that long ago. I think she was like, we tell each other we love each other, but we're not in a relationship.
We were like, that's your man. Get your fucking man. That is your husband. That is your betrothed. Yeah, no, that was funny. Wonder where they are. I mean, in the gentlest way possible. As someone who is also like, you know, my first boyfriend was a friend who my friend, one of my other best friends, realized I fell in love with before I did. And I was like so worried about ruining the friendship. And she was like, what friendship? Like, you're in love with him. Like, it's already ruined. So I would have taken that kind of worry off the table, because as subtle as what we think we are, when someone develops feelings, it fundamentally changes that dynamic. And so it's not something that can be avoided by avoiding the conversation, because like it will come out one way or the other. And you just have to decide why do you think he would not have feelings for you? And would you prefer, and would it be easier for you to get over this if he told you he didn't have feelings for you? Or would it be easier for you to take a step back from the relationship and what it is right now to get over those feelings and then maybe pursue a friendship later down the road? But like, regardless, like you're at a fork in the road. Like, you have to make a call and a decision. But my advice for this is always to just tell the person without asking them how they feel, and just being like, I want to let you know that like I've had, you know, a great time, and like this has been like really fun. And I really did not expect this, and I'm not looking for you to say anything. I just need to get this off my chest. I have developed like feelings that are more than friends for you. And that's something that like we didn't talk about, and that was like not in the cards or planned for this. And so I want to take a step back from this friendship because I can't be a friend right now. And I've realized I haven't really been being a friend. I've had a crush. And so I want to be able to be a friend. So I need to take a pause so I can actually do that. Because anyone who does have feelings for you, it'll be that movie moment where they go, stop. I'm so glad you said something. I've been feeling the same way. Like, there's no saying that is not like shutting the door to make it so he can't say anything back. But it really, I think, preserves your friendship in a much better way than being like, hey, I like you and I'm curious if you're interested in me too. Because then there is a 50-50 chance that that person is going to be like, I do like you too. And then the other is that they have to then carry the weight of what they think is disappointing you because they think you think that they have those feelings. And that's an uncomfortable conversation. But I don't think you should be worried because, like, I don't know, every time I've had a friends with benefits situation, like, I think we all know that this could happen, you know?
Yeah, especially now that y'all have merged your friend groups too.
This might be your boyfriend.
Yeah, like, do y'all also just like hang out with just the two of you and not have sex too? Either way, y'all have moved past just being friends with benefits, because like just having, it would be different if y'all already, like, you were already friends in the same friend group and then started having sex. Like, I can understand whatever. No, y'all have invited people to mutually hang out with the both of you. There's more to this than just fuck buddies at this point. I also think that he probably has feelings for you as well. It's also better to know now, because like, what are you going to do? Just keep having one-sided emotion sex with him?
Yeah, and then
no,
he introduces you to be like, look at this, now meet my girlfriend. And it's like, what?
Like, your heart is going to get ripped out of your chest if you don't say something sooner or in the benefits part of your friendship.
Yeah. And I think if he doesn't have feelings for you, you have my permission to feel misled and to feel annoyed by him, because I think whether you've only just realized that you've had feelings for him, the merging of the friend groups, like Melissa said, indicates feelings. That indicates that. And so, you know, whoever is doing that, whoever's like leading that is a more than friends gesture. And whoever's reciprocating that is a more than friends gesture. So there were no boundaries kind of put up. And I don't fault someone who realizes they have feelings and therefore the line of boundaries becomes very fuzzy, versus someone who knows that they don't have feelings and still participates in that. I don't think that's fair or cool. And I do think that is, despite when you change the parameters of like the mutually agreed upon relationship and you change the contents of it without changing the name of it, I don't think that, we said we're just friends with benefits. I don't think that that's kind of like a get out of jail free card. I still think that is misleading. So I think either way, you will feel so much better. And either way, it will get better because as soon as you start to have feelings for somebody, they take up that like little box in your brain. And so you don't look for that in other people. You don't have that, like the time and the energy you spend like flirting or just like messaging, you don't have that like desire to have that connection with anyone else or to make those connections because you already have that. And that is, unless there is a relationship established there, that will inevitably be fleeting and it will hinder you because you're not going to pursue other things at the same time. So I think it's kind of like a shit or get off the pot. I hate that phrase, but like that's kind of what it is, where it's like either the relationship needs to change or the title of this relationship needs to change. Because right now you're playing house, you're merging your lives together without that mutually agreed upon definition of what it is. And that will lead to more hurt, I think, than hearing him say that maybe he doesn't have those feelings back for you.
Mm-hmm.
Best of luck.
Best of luck. And that's the end of the show.
We hope you all enjoyed. If you did, you can always leave us a review on the podcast app. You can also leave a review for an individual episode on Spotify. You can join our Patreon to watch the video versions of this podcast, as well as our other podcast. And you can also hear ad-free episodes of all of our podcasts. And what all of those podcasts are, we have Don't Blame Me, which is this one. So you can listen to this every Thursday. And we also have our Fisting Friday, which is catching up, getting to know us, spending time with us, some QT quality time. We talk about so many random things, lots of fun, wonderful, fantastic. On Monday, we have But Am I Wrong, where we tell people when they are wrong. And then there's a whole voting element to it. It's wonderful. It's fun. And then on Tuesday, our episode of See You Next Tuesday, you can hear the results from last week's episode and all of the listeners' thoughts and feelings that we read aloud. I might have done any of that wrong.
That's fine. I think you're right. I just want to give a shout out to some of our members, newest members, Zara, CJ, Soli, sorry if I said that incorrectly, Regina, Truth, Haley. What's up, y'all? Thanks for being here.
Love those names.
Yeah.
It could be a pop group, right?
Yeah.
I love that. So if you join our Patreon, you can, like we said, video versions of the podcast ad free. You can also just support the show, but we also do live streams twice a month. They're very fun. If you're looking for new friends, you're moving to a new city, you're going through a friendship breakup, a regular breakup, or you also have just come into a large sum of money. It doesn't cost you a large sum of money, but like if you come into a large sum of money, I like really hope you like toss us a couple bucks every month, and it helps the show. Do you want to support women in STEM? Yeah.
You want to support women-owned small businesses?
Do you want to support women in the arts?
Yeah.
There you go.
Well, we'll see you tomorrow for Fisting Friday. Goodbye.
Bye. Don't Blame Me is a production by me, Megan Rinks.
And me, Melissa D. Montz, plus Diamond Imprint Productions.
Post-production sound and editing by Coco Lorenz.
Production assistance by Melanie D. Watson.
And music by Giacomo Picasso and Ryan Hunter.
Welcome to the small town of Chinook, where faith runs deep and secrets run deeper. In this new thriller, religion and crime collide when a gruesome murder rocks the isolated Montana community. Everyone is quick to point their fingers at a drug-addicted teenager, but local deputy Ruth Vogel isn't convinced. She suspects connections to a powerful religious group. Enter federal agent V.B. Lauro, who has been investigating a local church for possible criminal activity. The pair form an unlikely partnership to catch the killer, unearthing secrets that leave Ruth torn between her duty to the law, her religious convictions, and her very own family. But something more sinister than murder is afoot, and someone is watching Ruth. Chinook, starring Kelly Marie Tran and Sanaa Lathan. Listen to Chinook wherever you get your podcasts.
Hi, I'm Jennifer, a co-founder of the Go Kid Go network. At Go Kid Go, putting kids first is at the heart of every show that we produce. That's why we're so excited to introduce a brand new show to our network called The Search for the Silver Lining, a fantasy adventure series about a spirited young girl named Isla who time travels to the mythical land of Camelot. During her journey, Isla meets new friends, including King Arthur and his Knights of the Round Table, and learns valuable life lessons with every quest, sword fight, and dragon ride. Positive and uplifting stories remind us all about the importance of kindness, friendship, honesty, and positivity. Join me and an all-star cast of actors including Liam Neeson, Emily Blunt, Kristen Bell, Chris Hemsworth, among many others, in welcoming the Search for the Silver Lining podcast to the Go Kid Go network by listening today. Look for the Search for the Silver Lining on Spotify, Apple, or wherever you get your podcasts.
I'm Laura Cathcart-Robbins, and I'm the host and creator of Only One in the Room podcast. Every week, my co-host Scott Slaughter and I invite you to join us for an hour and lose yourself in someone's incredible Only One story. We talk to the realest of real people, dealing with issues like infertility, addiction, human trafficking, and body shaming. Oh, and we want to be fair, so we talk to some celebrities too. Oscar winners, New York Times bestselling authors, supermodels, and even the most decorated U.S. Winter Olympian. Everyone is invited to share their Only One story with our listeners. This podcast is for anyone who has ever felt alone in a room full of people, which is to say that this podcast is for everyone. Download Only One in the Room wherever you listen to podcasts today.